So I was recently asked in the comment section to rate all the races in Blox Fruit. So today that's what we're gonna do. But before I go into actually rating the races, let me explain what the races are, what they do, and how to actually get them and get them all to version 3. So to start out, there are actually 7 races in the game right now, 4 of which you can get really easily, and the other 3 require certain requirements to actually get them. But for right now, let's talk about the 4 that you can start out with. So as soon as you join Blox Fruits, you'll be given one of 4 races at random. These races include human, rabbit, shark, and angel. I'll put on screen here the actual chances of getting one of these races, but overall, you're most likely going to end up with human. So as soon as you get your race, you will also gain a buff depending on which race you have. If you're a human though, you sadly don't get any buffs until you actually upgrade the versions of that race. But for rabbit, shark, and angel, the buffs are rabbit will give you increased movement speed at about 50% normal movement speed. Shark will decrease your damage from water when you have a Blox Fruit. And angel will increase your jump height because you have little wing. Now, as for the other 3 races that I mentioned, Ghoul, Cyborg, and Draco, the buffs are Ghoul, you gain increased health regen and movement speed at night. Cyborg actually doesn't give you any buffs at version 1, and then Draco gives you a 5% increase on health, damage reduction, and 5% increased damage on your melee. Now to actually change your race, there's quite a few different ways to do it. The first one is talking to Tort here and having 3,000 fragments, which will give you a random of the 4 races. Those 4 include human, rabbit, shark, and angel. Another way you can do it is just by going to the shop and buying a race reroll right here. But I don't recommend doing that because it costs real money, and you can do it for so much cheaper just by talking to Tort. Now as for the Ghoul race, you get it by obtaining 100 ectoplasm and a blue flame torch from the cursed pirate captain. Now the torch can actually be gotten by server hopping, but I don't recommend actually trying to get the torch until you have 100 ectoplasm, because if you die or leave while having the torch, you lose the torch. So get the 100 ectoplasm first and then try and server hop for the torch. Now for Cyborg, you actually have to get a Fist of Darkness, which can be gotten from sea beasts or chests that spawn around the map every 2 hours. Once you actually obtain the Fist of Darkness, come down to where you do a law raid or order raid and place the Fist of Darkness here. Once you do that, every time you do an order raid, you will have a chance to get the mechanical brain that you need to unlock Cyborg. Now for the Draco race, you need to be in C3 and have Dragon Talon at 500 or higher mastery. Once you do that, you can talk to the dojo trainer and start getting dojo belts, which you will need to actually get the Draco race. Once you've completed the entire dojo trainer quest and you have the black or master's belt, kind of forget what it's called. Once you have that though, you'll be able to start getting the Draco race. The Draco race requires you to obtain a dragon egg and give it to the dragon wizard, which can be found in the room to the left. Once you give it to the dragon wizard, you will obtain the Draco race, which actually has a different way of increasing the version of it, so I'll leave that for later. Now once you actually have the race that you want, not including Draco of course, you'll need to come to Green Zone and talk to the alchemist. Here you can start the quest to get version 2 of whatever race you have. The version 2 quest is the same for every race except Draco, so you'll come here no matter what race you're using. The quest is to actually just go find 3 different flowers, a red, a blue, and a yellow. And this is honestly really easy to do because you can just fly around the whole map until you find the red and blue flowers, and then the yellow flower you get just by beating up stuff. To actually do the alchemist quest though, you need to have completed the Colosseum quest line, which is honestly really easy to do, and you can do it pretty early on. I think it's only level 800 requirement to do that. And then you will also need 500,000 money to actually get V2 of whatever race you're using. The V2 of every race will increase whatever base stat or buff you end up getting from that race, so it's always worth getting V2 as early as possible. Since it actually takes quite a long time to actually explain what every buff is for version 2, I'm just going to quickly put every picture of what the races do from the wiki onto the screen for about 5 seconds each, so if you want you can go ahead and pause and just read what they do. Now to actually obtain version 3 of every race, you need to come to this NPC. This NPC is still in 2nd Sea, and you can find him just behind the big tree near the cafe. He is in this wall right here. Also, if you have Portal, it's just called Doghouse. Just like the version 2 of all the races, he will be the person you come to for version 3 of all of the races. Not including Draco, of course. I'll get into that later. Now, version 3 all requires the same amount of money, but the quest to actually get them is all different. For Human to be ranked up into version 3, your quest will be to defeat Diamond, Fajita, and Jeremy. Rabbit is by far the easiest, and all you have to do is go and collect 30 chests from around the map. Shark is also kind of easy. It just takes a little bit of time because you have to wait for a sea beast to spawn. All you have to do is defeat it though. So once you defeat a sea beast, you can come back here and get your version 3. To get version 3 of the angel race, you actually have to kill another player with the angel race. This is kind of difficult because not a lot of people use the angel race, and it does have to be a player, but kind of easy as long as you have an alt or a friend. Ghoul is very similar, where you have to kill players, but there's no requirement on the player you kill. All you have to do is kill 5 players, which again, you can just do with a friend or an alt, making it a pretty easy quest. And lastly, there's Cyborg, which all you have to do is bring Arrow a physical fruit. He won't actually take the fruit, so it doesn't matter which one you give him, just give him a fruit and you'll get V3 of Cyborg. Now let's talk about the Draco race that was recently added in the Dragon update. So the Draco race actually requires you to talk to the Dragon Wizard in order to level it up, similar to how you actually obtain it. In order to get version 2, you need to collect 5 fire flowers, which are randomly dropped by NPCs, and then also spend 1 million of the base money. For version 3, you have to defeat a terror shark and talk to the dragon wizard, which will then give you version 3 for 3 million money. Similar to the race V2 stats, I'm going to put a picture of what the race V3 stats are, or at least what the abilities are on screen now, so you can just read them by yourself, since this would take a while to explain. Now, let's actually go ahead and rank the races. After reading what Draco does, I actually think I'll put Draco up there with Ghoul at an S rank. I think both Draco and Ghoul are probably the strongest out of every race. Ghoul because of the healing factor that you can gain from it, and Draco because the ability seems really busted. For the A rank, I'd probably give it to Shark and Human. Human has a really good buff for PvP, as you take damage, you deal more damage. Shark, on the other hand, deserves an A because it's incredibly defensive. For PvP reasons, that's pretty good, but also for being able to be in the water. When you start doing things like sea events in 3rd Sea, it becomes really useful since you don't take damage from water and you move faster in the water. Now let's go into the B rank. Personally, I'm going to put Rabbit in B rank. being able to move around really fast is just super fun. While it doesn't give a lot of like damage buffs or anything, you can mitigate that with accessories. So just throw on accessories that give you the damage buffs you're looking for, and you can just speed around the whole map. Other than that though, Rabbit isn't really useful, which is why I'm putting it at a B. Now for the C rank, I'm going to put Cyborg in the C rank, but also I just don't like Cyborg. I think it's kind of weak. I think it could be better. The ability to break instinct though is kind of good, which is why I'm not putting it lower. However, the whole energy thing is just not needed. And lastly, for the D rank, obviously I'm putting Angel. Angel's just not good. Nobody really needs increased jumps, and the ability doesn't really make up for the fact that all you're getting is increased jumps. Alright, so that's how to obtain every V3 in the game, as well as race in the game, what they all do, and my personal ranking of which ones you should probably go for. I definitely recommend Ghoul, and once you hit 3rd C, recommend trying to get Dragon as well.